Ben Micah denies being appointed as Deputy Prime Minister. Funding hinders delivery of relief supplies in Morobe. Office of Workers' Compensation Reviews Act.
This is NBC Papua New Guinea National News.
Good evening, I'm Evelyn Moore. State Enterprises and Investments Minister Ben Micah has denied public speculations that he's been appointed the Deputy Prime Minister. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill flew to Kavieng this week to hold a closed-door meeting with Mr. Micah, New Ireland Governor Sir Julius Chen, and other provincial leaders. But Mr. Micah told NBC News the meeting had nothing to do with him appointed Deputy Prime Minister. Gabriel Bego reports.
The speculation of Mr. Micah appointed as the Deputy Prime Minister went viral on social media Facebook. The speculation took a toll following recent political developments and rumors of possible vote of no confidence against the PNC-led government by opposition in the coming sitting of Parliament this month. Mr. Micah, also the leader of the People's Progress Party, a coalition partner in the PNC-led government, said his party will have no part in a planned vote of no confidence against Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and his government. In latest developments, another coalition partner, the National Alliance Party led by Treasurer Patrick Proyce, was reported to have split with its dissatisfied members, which include ECP Governor Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, allegedly planning a move across to the opposition. But PPP leader Ben Micah told NBC News the ruling People's National Congress Party has the majority numbers, and a split among smaller coalition member parties will not aid the government. The office of the Prime Minister further commented on the rumors on the social media as media mischief. Mr. Micah said the Deputy Prime Minister's position is held by regional member for East New Britain Grand Chief Leo Dion, and he respects Mr. Dion as the Deputy Prime Minister of the country. Gabriel Bego, NBC National News.
The Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology is looking into accrediting more institutions to meet the demand of school leavers. Acting Secretary Professor David Kavanagh highlighted this in an interview with NBC's Dabai show. Professor Kavanagh says the demand and changes in the government's policies requires few institutions accredited accordingly to provide quality education for all school leavers. Kevin Dayonga reports.
Due to influx of students in all secondary schools nationwide, the Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology has embarked into increasing the capacity of higher education sectors. Acting Secretary for Department of Higher Education, Science, Research and Technology, Professor David Kavanagh, on NBC's Dabai program said the department is starting to increase the number of scholarships as well as increasing the number of service providers to cater for the influx of students.
We've actually accredited about 5 or 6 new institutes of higher education. So that's in addition to the existing ones, and we're looking at working with the others as well to give them accreditation of about 3 to 5 years.
He went on to say that expanding the infrastructure of existing institutions will also address the issue of accessibility.
Issues that have been identified through audit assessments and progress them up to, because we can only give scholarships to accredited institutions.
He further added that increasing infrastructure in our existing institutions will help them absorb more students. At the moment, the institutions are overcrowded and it's beyond the design capacity of these institutions.
And when you bring in more students without spaces, without sitting spaces, without teaching areas, without teaching equipment, and so on and so forth, then it affects quality. But those are fundamental issues that the universities are addressing together with us, and we're working in partnership in a collaborative approach.
As the department concerned, policies designed will work with higher education sectors to ensure those issues are addressed, but at the same time increase a number of universities in the country. Kevin Dayonga, NBC National News.
The Morobe Provincial Disaster Office says they will not supply adequate amount of relief supplies to the affected areas due to insufficient funds. The office has advised that they are managing the available funds in a way that all affected areas in the province must at least receive a piece of the relief supplies. The Morobe provincial government funded the relief exercise with 1 million kina with other districts in the province. A submission of 2.4 million kina was submitted to the national government to assist, but the submission is pending for approval. Charles Kekin reports from Leh.
It's like I become 140 beds and by no help me because population below me I'm 520. Now me got 110 houses and stuff. So by me distribute them the slab by no help me.
The disaster relief supplies to all affected areas in Morobe province was in accordance with the reports from the ward councillors and the government officers in the district and the local level governments. Concerns have been raised of insufficient quantity of relief supply. However, the Morobe Provincial Disaster revealed that the funding is inadequate due to the cost of goods and the cost of logistics of the supply to the people.
We all 20 affected. The time you try calculating how much by spending just more and like fact you cannot feed the entire.
In spite of not receiving enough relief supplies, the Morobe Provincial Disaster Office is making sure that the supplies reach all affected areas and every affected person must have a piece of the relief supply.
When I'm only complain like under supply, but because of the funds people got them, people trying scaling good now, people can on a petroleum or when relieve in province.
Using the funding from the provincial government and some districts in Morobe, the Morobe Provincial Disaster Office are taking cost-effective measures to deliver the relief supplies. The director of the Morobe Provincial Disaster Office said they will not consider the scientists' prediction of the drought as it might not be accurate. Charles Kekeng, NBC National News, Leh.
A former provincial police commander for Madang province says the escalating law and order problem in the province, in the once Pearl of the Pacific, is a result in the breakdown in the command and control of the police. Ben Simon John is a former provincial police commander and now a resident in Madang. He told NBC National News the increasing law and order situation can be solved if the police command in the province gets its house into order.
Madang should be doing, like any other provinces, is to take up proactive policing activities. This is the most cost-effective insofar as money and resources are concerned. Here we have a command in Madang where there is a certain degree of manpower which is lacking resources. So we should be talking about proactive policing rather than reactive.
A research carried out by both the PNG and overseas researchers reveals that despite efforts by the government for development, PNG still lacks basic service delivery. The research was led by Papua New Guinean first PhD holder and academia late Dr. Ray Anere and two other overseas researchers on the topic political governance and service delivery. The research was to find out the status of service delivery in Papua New Guinea since independence. Jacqueline Yala reports.
One of the researchers based in Singapore, Scott Flower, says despite all efforts that the government has placed on country's development, we have not been able to improve on delivering basic services. Former NRI Director Dr. Thomas Webster says large number of population still suffer from basic services and defines what it means.
For me and my definition, and many of you here, you know it, basic service delivery is basically good quality basic education for everyone. Basic primary healthcare facilities available for everyone. Roads and infrastructure that allow for individuals to increase and make an income for themselves so that they are empowered to do work.
He says the Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs, are not being achieved due to the country's failure to know check and balance system.
PNG has just come back from the UN. You know, the MDG goals, we've had them for the last 5-10 years. How many of you know whether we achieved the MDG goals or not?
Coupled with service delivery, PNG still has high literacy rate in the Pacific region, and Dr. Webster says despite this, the government is supporting developments for other smaller Pacific Island countries. Jacqueline Yala, NBC National News.
And we now join Lizzie for a preview of the weather.
Thank you, Evelyn. Good evening, the weather update. Fine weather in some centres, others expecting cloudy periods and showers. I've got all the weather details coming up later in the news. Back to you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Lizzie. Coming up next, Workers' Compensation Act deemed as inadequate to satisfy technological changes. Stay with us on NBC National News.